Hello everyone. Welcome. Let's see, we have already 26 people coming in. We just wait for people to come in and then we'll go ahead and get started. I see lots of people coming in. We had about 200 people registered today, so I hope we have that good of a turnout. Just going to give people a few minutes to come in and then we'll start with the competition. Okay, we'll just wait one more minute. Welcome to everyone. I see also some people from other regions besides Africa here. It's good. We have a global turnout. Okay, I think we can go ahead and get started. So good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Africa region session of the 2026 Short Talks Big Impacts competition, brought to you by the Organization for Women in Science for the Developing World, OWSD. We're very excited to have you with us today for this exciting second edition of the competition. I don't know how many of you were able to join us last year, but we had three very exciting regional competitions and an incredible global finale where all the finalists just knocked it out of the park. And I'm sure that if you were able to attend, you'll agree that the presentations were all extremely engaging and impressive. So today is the first of four regional competitions this year. We've added this year a separate competition for the Arab region, which we did not have last year. And today we're excited to showcase 13 wonderful women scientists from all across Africa who will each be presenting their research in just 3 minutes. So I'll introduce myself. I'm Erin Johnson, and I work at the O Secretariat, mainly on our early career fellowships program and our awards program, but I also handle some of our communications initiatives. And it's a pleasure to be here today and to open today's session. I'll just quickly introduce my two colleagues who are also here today helping facilitate, who are Giulia Signori, who also works in the Secretariat, mostly with the national chapters and also on communication. So, Giulia, if you want to say a quick hello.
Hello, everyone. It's really nice to see you all here, many of you.
And then we also have Javier Gergolet, who is assisting us with the technical aspects of the webinar. I don't know if you want to
Yeah.
wave also, Javier.
Hello to everyone.
Great. Um, So the reason that we are hosting this competition is that we really believe that science communication is a very important skill for all scientists to have. The ability to clearly explain your research, especially to non-specialists, can really help you as a scientist to help take your research to the next level. And there are many situations where this applies, whether you're applying for funding, whether you're advising policymakers or working in communities or doing public awareness, you usually don't have an hour to explain your work. You might have just 3 minutes or even less. So that's what this competition is about. It's really getting down to the heart of your research. Why does it matter? what problem does it address, what impact does it have, and why should people care? So after all the presentations, you in the audience are going to be able to vote through a poll that we'll launch here in the webinar. And the top two presenters will advance to represent Africa in the global finale in March, Wednesday, March 11th. So now it's my great pleasure to introduce our two co-chairs for today's competition, who are both winners of the Africa Regional Competition in 2025. And both were also winners of the global finale competition. They came in second and third place in the audience vote there. So we have first Dr. Irene Opoku-Ntim, who is a senior research scientist at the Ghana Atomic Energy Commission and lecturer at the School of Nuclear and Allied Sciences at the University of Ghana. She has over a decade of experience leading research at the intersection of nuclear science, systemic change, and public health. She is passionate about gender equity in STEM, participatory research, AI and policy engagement, and youth-centered mentorship. And then we have also Dr. Chao Mbogo, who is a multi-award-winning computer scientist, educator, and leader from Kenya. She is the founder and lead of Kamilimu, which is Kenya's pioneering research-driven mentorship program for computing students. And she's a senior fellow in responsible computing at the Mozilla Foundation, where she leads national faculty development efforts, integrating ethics and equity into computing education. She holds a PhD in computer science from the University of Cape Town and an MSc in computer science from the University of Oxford. In 2020, she received the OWSD Elsevier Award in Technology, Innovation and Engineering. And in December 2025, she won Best Proposal, Best Education Project, and Audience Vote at the Leaders of Africa Institute Grant Writing Global Showcase, which is an event very much like today's Short Talks Big Impact competition. She's also a member of the OWSD Executive Board as Africa Regional Member, and her leadership and impact in advancing inclusive computing education were recognized with the Women in STEM Award from the Women in Boards Network Kenya in 2025. And as just a fun fact about her, she is a plant parent to over 30 healthy and thriving plants, which personally I find very impressive because I cannot keep a single houseplant alive. So without further ado, I'd like to hand it over to Irene and Chao.
All right, thank you so much, Irene, and welcome everyone for joining us today. It's a pleasure to be here as a co-chair of this Africa Region session, because for me, having participated in this competition last year, I know how exciting it was, but also it was challenging trying to present your research in 3 minutes. So today we'll be hearing from outstanding scientists across Africa who are going to address real challenges in health, climate, energy, and sustainable development. So Chao, over to you.
Thank you so much, Irene, and hello, everyone. To the presenters, I know how you're feeling right now, but this is gonna be over very soon, but I hope you have fun and you're able to really bring your best. And I completely agree with both Erin and Irene. When I participated last year, I realized that communicating our impact is really important, just as conducting research for the researchers in the room, which is pretty much everybody, because it forces you to think clearly, to practice storytelling, and to really be relevant in a very short time. Skills that I hope both presenters and listeners will continue advancing and practicing. And today we'll hear research that addresses along different spectrums in sustainable development goals, from clean water and affordable energy to public health, climate action, sustainable seating, and so much more. So we are going to go through this program today, and both Irene and I say welcome, and back to you, Irene.
All right, thank you, Chao. So here is how the day is going to run. Each presenter will have exactly 3 minutes. 3 minutes to do the presentation. A timer will be visible to the speakers, and I believe you've all seen Erin showing us how the timer is going to work. we'll ask the audience to hold on with their comments at the end. That's why if you have any comments, you give us your comments. And after all the presentations, we are going to open the poll, a live poll for all those participants to vote for your best presenter. So you may want to put some notes down so that if you forget the presentation of the participants. So to begin with, we are just going right into the presentations, and
Before we do,
Esther.
Sorry, before we do, Irene, we have just a small announcement before we start the presentation. So first, before we vote, we'll give a very quick feedback overview. Irene and I will do that. But we're also excited to tell you that the top 3 winners of the global finale competition, which will be held on March 11th, will be, in addition to the 2 top audience choice winners, will be rewarded with the opportunity to attend a scientific conference of their choice funded by OWSD. So I think that is really, really amazing news. And this support will be granted through a lump sum upon submission of proof of travel and registration confirmation. And there'll be other exciting opportunities that come out of this competition and other engagements, and this will be communicated later on as we progress with the competitions. So back to you, Irene.
Thank you.
Chao. Thank you.
Sorry, Irene, I just want to interrupt before you start too, because I've just remembered or realized that for the timer, I'm not sure that it will be visible on the speaker's video screen. I think that it may be visible only on mine. So if it's not visible on yours, you can look for me in the panelists, and the timer should be visible on my video. So I won't turn my video off.
Okay. Thank you, Irene. So we start. So our first presenter is Desta Gebehu from Ethiopia. Desta, are you online?
Yes.
Yeah. So our first, as I said, so Desta's research focuses on converting waste into valuable eco-products, contributing to clean water and sanitation, as well as affordable and clean energy. Desta, welcome, and the floor is yours. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are. My name is Desta Mulu. I'm assistant professor at Njibara University. So I grew up seeing for problems which can be an opportunity in my community. First, I saw women cooking with firewood charcoal surrounded by smoke that made their eyes water and their children's cough. So research supports around 2 billion people globally use biomass energy. Among 192 million are used in Africa. I also saw water hyacinth covering our water bodies, blocking irrigation, fishing, and transportation. So 20% of Lake Tana is covered with water hyacinth. At the same time, piles of agricultural waste were either burned or left to rot, causing health problems for nearby residents and sometimes even leading to fatal accidents. Smallholder farmers also spend significant amount of dollars on imported feed and biofertilizer. Those questions lead to my PhD research project. I worked on converting locally available organic waste and water hyacinth into 5 innovative eco-products. These are bioethanol, bioethanol gel, briquette, biofrass, and biofertilizer. First, we produce and investigate bioethanol from water hyacinth through fermentation using optimization method. Then after producing bioethanol, we make it bioethanol gel using eggshell as thickening agent. So this is smokeless cooking fuel using produced with eggshell. So it burns cleanly and reduce indoor pollution. After producing bioethanol gel, we also produce briquette by compressing dried cut and water hyacinth at different ratio. After producing energy from organic waste, we also use insect to convert organic waste into valuable products. These are biofrass, organic fertilizers that improve soil fertilizer, which recommended using in acidic soil. And the larvae become biofeed, high protein animal feed for poultry and fish, reduce costs for farmers. This creates a circular system. Waste becomes fuel, waste becomes fertilizer, waste becomes biofeed. It reduces cost for farmers. For me, this is not only research, it is about turning environmental problems into economic opportunities for communities. We are not just managing waste, we are creating clean energy, improving agriculture, building resilience, starting from what we already have through innovative technologies, which can be scalable everywhere. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Erin. Sorry, thank you, Desta. You did it just within the 3 minutes. Thank you so much. And thank you for opening our session strongly. Your work shows how innovative thinking can transform environmental challenges into sustainable solutions. So we move on to our next presenter, and we have Yusifo Feleni from South Africa. Yusifo Feleni from South Africa. Are you with us?
I think that she might actually be the only one not here. So why don't we skip her for now and we can come back to her if she's able to join.
Okay, so do we have Pamela online? Pamela Chogo from Tanzania.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, so you are next to present. So Pamela is going to talk to us about NLP chatbots for aflatoxin knowledge access, which is good for Sustainable Development Goals 4 and 6. That's what it's solving. So Pamela is developing natural language processing based chatbots to improve access to knowledge about aflatoxins, combining education, technology, and health. So Pamela, you have the floor now, 3 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
You can start.
Okay, thank you. According to NBS, 90% of Tanzanians consume maize and maize products daily. Unfortunately, many are unaware that consuming maize as food and feed can be life-threatening. My name is Pamela Chogo from Tanzania, and I'm here to share our research work, which focuses on developing a natural language processing chatbot to enhance access to aflatoxin knowledge. This will help improve practices, reduce contamination, but also positively affect food security, public health, and trade. Let me share details through the story of John. Meet John, a maize farmer from Tanzania. John harvested his maize, which were very, very good looking, and managed to sell at a good price, but also leaving some for his family. One evening, John's wife cooked ugali, a precious food from maize flour, and the family, the wife and the children, enjoyed the meal. Little did they know that it would lead to a major catastrophe. A few hours after eating the ugali, John's wife and children started experiencing stomach pain, vomiting, and fever. They rushed to the hospital, but unfortunately, John's wife lost her life. It was devastating for John. A few days later, John received a phone call from the person who bought his maize, telling him that the maize tested positive for aflatoxin contamination at a rate that was higher than the acceptable rate. This was new for John, and he wondered, but the maize looked very good. What happened? Little did he know that aflatoxin contamination has no color, taste, or smell. So it can only be known by test. He also did not know that consuming aflatoxin contaminated food or feed can cause health effects, including stomachache, vomiting, and many other. But worst case scenario, it can cause death. So John wanted to learn more about it, but he could not easily access the knowledge. Our research focuses on enhancing access to aflatoxin knowledge through NLP-enabled chatbot. We have created a Swahili aflatoxin knowledge dataset that we have used to train a model and develop AflaChat mobile application. With this chatbot, people like John can ask questions related to aflatoxin and get responses in Swahili or English language. So far, 356 questions have been asked and got responses. And we also have more than 50 farmers, traders, and consumers in the maize value chain who have gained awareness of the toxin. If only John had access to AflaChat, He will be aware of aflatoxin contamination and use recommended best agricultural practice to prevent contamination. Hence, harvest safe maize and he could have saved his wife's life and many other. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Pamela. Thank you. So, Pamela, developing so thank you, Pamela. Making scientific knowledge accessible through AI is such a timely and impactful approach. So I think I saw in the chat that UCC4 is online. I don't know whether she's ready to present now.
Yes,
Okay,
I'm
then
ready.
you are ready. Okay.
Yes.
So please,
Good afternoon. My name is
Dr.
Feleni.
Feleni from South
From
Africa is going to talk to us about electrochemical sensor systems to monitor pharmaceutical contaminants in water bodies, linking water safety and public health. So please, UCC4, over to you.
Thank you so
You
much.
have
My
3
name is
minutes and your time starts
Feleni.
now.
Thank you. I'm Feleni from South Africa. Can you imagine the importance of nanotechnology and its applications worldwide? Can you remember that in the past few years, the world has suffered from COVID-19, where millions of people's lives were claimed? Those who survived, they were using antibiotics to improve on their respiratory. Now, these antibiotics, they are metabolized in the liver and found their way into the water bodies. So when they are metabolized in the liver, they are converted into intermediates and as well as active metabolites that can be very, very toxic when found in water. So now the usefulness of nanotechnology is that we can tune in the importance of the nanomaterials that are present, and we can incorporate these nanomaterials into a sensing tool. These sensing tools can actually detect these antibiotics that we utilize in the body and can be able to convert these active metabolites into cleaner ways for solving either health issues as well as the water issues. On the other hand, this project that we are working on is aligned with the Africa Agenda 2063 that aims at ensuring that youth is trained on innovation. It also aligns with the Sustainable Development Goals number 3, that has to do with health and well-being, as well as clean water for all. On the other hand, it aligns with the National Development Plan that has to do with coming up with technologies that can employ people in the near future. Thank you so much.
Wow, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Feleni, for that presentation just within 2 minutes. So your work clearly is reminding us that safe water is directly linked to healthy communities. So our next presenter is Louisa Muparirui from Zimbabwe. Louisa, please, are you online?
Yes, I am online.
Okay. So Louisa from Zimbabwe's research focuses on ethical technology and the importance of human oversight in algorithm-driven systems, ensuring technology serves society responsibly. Louisa, please, the floor is yours and you have 3 minutes.
Thank you. What is the algorithm? I'm speaking of human oversight in ethical technology. We are currently here where we have item writers craft examination questions. This is costly. This costs the government a lot of money who subsidizes public education systems in Africa and the world. How about we move to this phase where we have got AI coming in to assist in the process of item generation? This will inevitably introduce a time reduction, which is 160 times from having AI coming in to assist in developing examination questions. So There are biases that we have heard and read in news about AI misrepresenting lessons for candidates, scripts for candidates not native English speakers being facing bias because of that. And also in the banking system, we have also heard of bank losses in millions of dollars. Where is this coming from? Legal, we also have heard of cases which failed to make it because of cited malicious cases. This is all happening because of hallucinations and the black box syndrome of AI. My research is focusing on public examination systems, where I developed an AI prototype for developing examination questions to cut down on costs. This reduced the process from 5 days with 10 examiners to just 12 seconds. This prototype, a government is able to redirect and channel funds to development processes like health, like infrastructure, instead of putting it in education. But in this prototype, I introduced what I call responsible and ethical AI adoption, the human in the loop. The subject matter expert comes in to verify and validate the output from AI such that the questions that come out are ready for a public assessment, and they are of quality, they are fair, and they are equitable. In this case now, the process that moved for generation of 260 items, that's just one subject. What more when you're talking of 114 subjects that we assess here in Zimbabwe and possibly many more other countries? It has gone 160 times faster. This means that in my case, who watches the algorithm becomes the subject matter expert, and it's not just AI, and we have done cost reduction. This work advances SDG 4 on quality education and SDG 9 on innovation, whilst it contributes to Agenda 2063's vision on knowledge-driven Africa. So from 5 days to 12 minutes, why not adopt AI responsibly for public education assessment? Thank you.
Thank you, Louisa. Digital technologies become part of everyday life. Ensuring ethical and responsible innovation becomes increasingly important. Thank you. So our next presenter is Mary Wetani Agoro from Ghana. Mary, are you online?
Yes,
okay, so
I'm online.
Mary's research focuses on rehabilitation strategies that improve quality of life for people living with Parkinson's disease. Mary, you have the floor now. Please go ahead. 3 minutes.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. To start with, as we journey through life, did you know that 1 in 3 people globally who need rehabilitation at some point as a result of injury or disease? This could be you or me. My research is titled Towards Strengthening Rehabilitation for Persons with Parkinson's Disease in Southern Ghana. It aimed to explore challenges in delivering rehabilitation for persons with Parkinson's. Parkinson's disease is a condition, a progressive condition of the brain that affects cognition, motor function, and quality of life. It has multiple debilitating symptoms that makes rehabilitation integral in its management. This is to help improve function and reduce disability. In Ghana, Parkinson's is recognized as one of the most common movement disorders. Yet, evidence on rehabilitation in Parkinson's is very scarce. So, I reviewed existing literature on rehabilitation use for Parkinson's. I surveyed 45 rehabilitation professionals on available resources for rehabilitation and engaged 75 persons with Parkinson's disease on their rehabilitation experiences in Southern Ghana. The findings show that rehabilitation research in Parkinson's disease is limited worldwide and then is absent in Africa. In Ghana, resources were found to be very scarce, with few rehabilitation units available, with workforce shortages and weak referral pathways. Out of the 75 patients, only 44% had accessed physiotherapy, occupational therapy, or speech therapy, even though these patients had needs for any of these rehabilitation services. The reasons for not using these services was non-referrals, limited awareness of rehabilitation benefits, high treatment costs, and lack of social support. These challenges were categorized at personal, organizational, and policy levels to inform targeted solutions. To advance equitable rehabilitation, Ghana can align with the Universal Health Coverage and Rehabilitation 2030 goals by expanding awareness and integrating rehab into national policies. That one person could be you. Join me in this call to move all challenges and make rehabilitation accessible to persons with Parkinson's and all those who may need it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary, for your presentation. This reminds us of how research can directly improve the lives and well-being of individuals and families. To our next presenter, we have Ifeoma Cynthia Ekena from Nigeria. Okay, welcome.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Cynthia.
Okay.
Yes, so Cynthia's work explores the use of nanoparticles for nose-to-brain drug delivery, offering promising advancing in medical treatments and pharmaceutical innovation. Ifeoma, please, you have the floor. 3 minutes.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ifeoma from Nigeria. So we've all known in life as they get older, from maybe 35, 65 years, most of the time, we notice that they start showing the signs of dementia. Now, dementia has been linked to Alzheimer's disease. The Alzheimer's Facts and Figures 2023 has shown that by in 2060, about 35 so million of people would be suffering from Alzheimer's disease. But there is a problem at hand. Imagine trying to treat a disease in an organ that blocks foreign matters from entering into it. The brain has a physical barrier called the blood-brain barrier that prevents foreign matters from entering into the brain, which protects the brain. But now it becomes a real challenge when we are trying to treat. Different methods have been used to assess the brain and treat these diseases. It's very invasive, very painful, non-efficient, exposing the body to systemic toxicity. In my research, I'm trying to use a phytochemical that has multiple mechanisms of attacking the disease. And not only that, I'll be using the nose-to-brain drug delivery route. So from the nose, it goes into the brain. But for this drug to pass from the nose to the brain, it needs to be protected because otherwise enzymes are going to degrade the drug. Also, it needs to be tiny enough to pass through the nerves in the nose to this brain. So what I have done so far is I have converted my drug to nanoparticles. We went from this stage and now it is at this stage, nanoparticles. And we have seen that it has had a better release compared to the solution of the drug. At the end of the day, we hope to achieve a case where we have better treatments using the nanotechnology and using nanotechnology and using the nose-to-brain drug route. We hope to have a better treatment option for Alzheimer's disease. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ifeoma. There's an innovative medical delivery system like yours is going to open new possibilities for treating complex health conditions more effectively. So our next presenter, we also have someone coming from Nigeria, Blessing Odafe Omovo. Blessing, are you online?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so Blessing's work focuses on the systematic and collaborative management of wetlands and river systems in urban Africa, supporting resilient and sustainable cities through multi-stakeholder engagement. Blessing, you have the floor now, 3 minutes.
Thank you very much, Irene. I'll be making my short talks this afternoon on a research I carried out with Dr. Efe Ogidiaka. And as an academic researcher and policy expert, I'm honored to share the transformative story of systemic relational management of wetlands and rivers in Africa, in urban Africa, specifically in Abuja, Nigeria. And Abuja was chosen as our study area because one is one of the fastest growing cities in Africa, and because of its administrative significance as the capital of Nigeria, the research outcome has the potential to permeate to the rest of Nigeria. Our project is linked to the implementation of the local, regional, and global agenda on SDG Goal 6, clean water and sanitation, and SDG Goal 11, sustainable cities. Our research objective is to develop holistic indicators of ecosystem health, examining institutional integration failures, and promote sustainable management practices in Abuja, Nigeria. In our approach, we made use of ecological field data acquisition, water physical chemistry, biomonitoring. We also utilize social and economic indicators using surveys, workshops, and collaborations with authorities and regulators from various communities, area councils, the Federal Capital Territory Administrations, and the Federal Ministry of Environment, focusing on three departments: the Environmental Assessment Department, the Pollution Control Department, and the Forestry Department. Our approach combines our research-driven approach has bridged the gap between science, policy, and practice, yielding remarkable impact from local to global skills. From our study, we can say in Abuja, we've demonstrated that multi-stakeholder engagement can restore degraded urban wetlands and rivers, benefiting over 500,000 residents and supporting biodiversity. Thank you.
Thank you, Blessing. So thank you, Blessing, for your presentation. So at this point, I would like to hand over to my co-chair. It's my pleasure to hand over to Chao to continue with the rest of the session. Chao, over to you.
Okay, thank you so much, Irene, and to all the 7 presenters who've already gone so far. So we now move to Denise Evans in South Africa. Denise, are you online?
Yes, I am.
Right. So Denise is developing low-cost, non-invasive imaging and AI tools for screening lung abnormalities in high-burden settings. So Denise, welcome, and you have 3 minutes.
Thank you so much. So I'm a public health researcher at Wits University in Johannesburg, South Africa. So I want to first start off by saying to everybody, if you could just for me take a deep breath in and a slow exhale and breathe out. So breathing feels effortless for most of us, but for millions around the world, it is not so simple. So lung health is fundamental to well-being. Yet it remains under prioritized, especially in low burden and low resource settings where chronic respiratory diseases such as asthma, COPD, and post-TB lung disease cause immense suffering. Hundreds of millions worldwide live with chronic lung conditions that cause lasting damage and reduced quality of life. Yet they remain underdiagnosed and largely overlooked in policy and programming. TB itself is devastating, and South Africa faces a triple burden of both TB, HIV, and drug-resistant TB, alongside some of the highest lung cancer rates in Africa, with prior TB increasing risk. For those with chronic respiratory diseases, accessing care is a challenge. Cost of transport, lost income, and long distances to hospitals delay diagnosis and treatment, worsening outcomes. But the solution seems simple. Integrate lung health into primary health care and bring services closer to communities. But how do we make this practical? While spirometry is the gold standard for diagnosis, it is costly, complex, and hard for vulnerable patients. Some of my work has already shown that low-resource, low-tech alternatives can be used to identify or screen out those unlikely to have lung impairment. But this research consists of 4 parts, focusing first on TB and lung cancer as a case example, which could be expanded to other respiratory conditions, thereby improving access and better outcomes. So the first part is to leverage existing country data to estimate burden and the dollar value of years of healthy life lost due to chronic lung diseases. The second is to assess diagnostic accuracy and the cost of novel AI algorithms to screen for TB, lung cancer, and other lung abnormalities. Third is to explore non-invasive, radiation-free imaging techniques, alone or in combination with simple, low-cost tools, and compare this to chest X-rays and spirometry to improve diagnostic access and coverage, but also to understand the relationship between spirometry, imaging, and functional impairment. And last is then to evaluate feasibility, acceptability, uptake, and cost of integrating these tools into primary healthcare workflow. So in conclusion, this research can inform primary healthcare orientated reforms, guide the scale up of lung health services, and transform respiratory care in resource limited settings. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Denise. And accessible medical technology is very, very important, especially when we talk about healthcare equity. So thank you so much for that. Next, we are moving to Mirabel Akongwe. Mirabel, are you online?
Yes, good afternoon.
Okay, so Mirabel Akongwe is from Cameroon, and her work bridges nature, knowledge, and health impact, linking climate and health. Mirabel, the floor is yours, and you have 3 minutes.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity to share my research work on this platform. I am Dr. Mirabel Akongwe. It's a lecturer of organic and medicinal chemistry at the University of Buea, Southwest Region, Cameroon. Like I said on my title, my work centers around antiplasmodial resistance. And as you can see on my chart, you see I can move from plants to molecules, molecules to people, and people we eradicate malaria. So that is the focus of my work. And we note that malaria is a disease caused by infection with the Plasmodium parasite, which is transmitted through the bite of a female Anopheles mosquito. Despite widespread implementation of Anopheles vector control, rapid diagnostic testing, and anti-artemisinin-based combination therapies for uncompleted malaria, strategies that have significantly reduced mortality and morbidity, which is, we can still estimate 263 million malaria cases and 597 malaria deaths, which occurred in 2023, with children and pregnant women being the most vulnerable group. Also, we noticed that the major chemotherapy agents to fight against malaria remained artemisinin-based combination therapy. However, it has no sterilizing effect on gametocyte stage 5, which is responsible for malaria transmission. To overcome the gap, artemisinin-based therapy is currently combined with primaquine, that is primaquine, in order to block human to mosquito transmission. But unfortunately, primaquine safety remains a major public health concern due to its hemolytic side effect in patients with glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase deficiency. Therefore, the lack of an effective vaccine and the emergence of drug-resistant parasites suggests for alternative solutions. So this work is centered around bioassay-guided isolation identification of antiplasmodial agents and transmission-blocking natural products from selected African medicinal plants, which aligns with Sustainable Development Goal 3, which aims to ensure healthy lives and promote well-being 2030. So to conclude, nature to science and to the community that connects. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mirabel, for that holistic perspective about malaria. So next we are going to move to Bernadette Jani. Bernadette, are you online?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Right. So Bernadette Jani from Zimbabwe is going to talk about climate-informed occupational risk assessment in agriculture and mining. So Bernadette, the floor is yours and you have 3 minutes.
This past December in 2024 Wange, Zimbabwe, forecasters predicted an 11-day unprecedented heatwave with temperatures set to rise to 44 degrees Celsius. And that is exactly what happened. This is no longer unusual, as seen by the rise in the duration, frequency, and intensity of heatwaves. Now, I want you to picture something. A female farm worker, knapsack sprayer on the back. Only protective equipment in sight is a small mask, because we've always believed that the route of exposure to the pesticide is inhalation or ingestion. But are we not forgetting that the nose and the mouth are part of a body that is being baked at 44 degrees Celsius? Is that small mask still enough? Think again. While some of us have the liberty to say, it's extremely hot today, I'll work from home, a farmer cannot work from home, a miner cannot work from home. All across Africa, 1 in 4 adults work outdoors, and they are at the forefront of climate-amplified risks. That's where my research comes in, to bridge the gap between weather data and worker vulnerability before the cost is measured in human lives. Think of this as your home, where you have locks, burglar bars, and alarms. But you realize there's a new set of intruders who are coming in through the ceiling. You don't sit back and relax and say, we already have doors, we have locks, because those were designed for a different kind of threat. Climate change is that. It is the new intruder, a threat multiplier, a risk amplifier. We cannot rely on old logs for a new threat. That is the problem with traditional occupational safety health risk assessment tools. They assume two things: a static climate and an ungendered workforce. Both assumptions are now false. If climate change is rewriting the risks, we should rewrite our safety. I'm developing a low-cost mobile-friendly user app that is connected to the worker through a wearable monitor that measures physiological signals in real time, such as the heart rate and electrodermal signals. These are synchronized with live weather data and sent to the safety officer using a mobile decision tool that uses artificial intelligence. It comes up with a dynamic climate-sensitive score that enables early warning signs, better disaster preparedness, sharper emergency response protocols, informed allocation of resources, and climate-resilient operations. This innovation is scalable to other sectors as well. It turns the hazard into a forecast we can prepare for and not a tragedy we react to. Such predictive power, moving from reactive to proactive, predictive, anticipatory, a first of its kind in the low to medium income countries, I thought deserves a name rooted in our indigenous knowledge systems. I named it Shura Murowe, Shura to Professor Murowe the rains. That's the admin stock, a bird that migrates the European winter to come to Africa. And in Zimbabwe, when the elders see it, they say it's a natural habitat for rain. While the bird itself forecasts the rains, my app forecasts the hazards for those who tend them. Because nobody needs to go home yet, because the climate shifted and our safety tools did not. Nobody deserves to go home in a body bag because of a hazard we know is coming. Jani Bernadette, I thank you.
Thank you so much, Bernadette, for that. And climate responsive systems are really exciting and they're definitely needed in today's and the future world. So next we're going to move to Akua Gabriela from Togo. Gabriela, are you here?
Yes, I am.
All right, so Gabriela is going to talk about valorizing agricultural residues through pelletization for clean cooking. So Gabriela, the floor is yours and you have 3 minutes.
Thank you, Chao, for giving me the floor. I would like to begin by sincerely thanking OWSD for giving us this opportunity to share not only our passion for science, but also our research work we carry out every day. So with the depletion of fossil fuel and the need to turn to other clean energy sources, biomass has been recognized as a promising renewable energy source. It offers the possibility of continuous heat and power generation. However, unlike solar and wind energy, biomass has not yet fully met expectation. So it is important to note that when we talk about biomass, we refer to materials such as wood, agricultural residues from forest, crop field, and wood processing industries. In Togo, my country, where agriculture is one of the main economic activities, large amounts of agricultural residues are generated every year. Unfortunately, these wastes are often burned in open fields, contributing to greenhouse gas emission. So one effective way to valorize this waste is pelletization. Pelletization is a process of compressing biomass into dense uniform solid fuel with lower moisture content and higher bulk density. The resulting pellets have a standardized size and shape, making them easier to transport and to store and to use as well. So these pellets can serve as an alternative to wood and to charcoal, and also it can improve not only the household health, but reduce smoke exposure, and then also reduce pressure on our forests. So for our research, we focuses on converting agricultural residues into high-quality fuel pellets. So we choose rice husk and palm kernel shells. So for the laboratory analysis, I can give you some numbers. So rice husk has a high ash content like above 20%, whereas palm kernel shells have a much lower ash content. And in terms of energy performance, palm kernel shells have a high calorific capacity, while rice husk has a very low capacity. So these results indicate that palm kernel shells can produce a high amount of energy with relatively low ash, but rice husk cannot do that. So the solution is to mix them and into optimized proportion and produce the pellets that have overall quality, a very good quality. So through this work, we hope to contribute to sustainable waste valorization, cleaner cooking solution, and a more resilient energy future. So my name is Amuzwacho Akwa Gabriela. I'm a PhD student in physics at the University of Lomé in Togo. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gabriela. And clean cooking solutions have really, really many health and climate benefits and implications. So thank you for that presentation. Next, we move to Habiba Atta. Habiba, are you online?
Yes, I am.
Okay, great. So Habiba is going to talk about microorganisms as drivers of sustainable solutions to environmental polluter. So Habiba, please go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. It's a privilege to provide a short insight to my research titled Microorganisms as Drivers of Sustainable Solutions to Environmental Pollution. I'm an associate professor of environmental microbiology and I'm at Mbogo University, Zaria, Nigeria. However, my area of specialization is environmental microbiology, with particular focus on petroleum microbiology. Now, in petroleum microbiology, I study how microorganisms are used sustainably to provide solutions to problems in the oil and gas sector. So my country is one of the major oil producing and exporting countries in the world. So as a result of that, we find that we usually face environmental pollution in those places where the oil is being produced, particularly in the upstream sector and during the transportation of this crude oil and the refined products. So I wonder why microorganisms, isn't it? So microorganisms are those organisms that cannot be seen by the naked eye, except with the use of a microscope. And contrary to popular belief, microorganisms are not usually bad guys. In fact, only a small percentage of microorganisms are bad. Most of them are harmless or very beneficial to humans and to the environment. So how do microorganisms come in my research? So microorganisms have a lot of enzymes that allow them to break down complex substances and pollutants in our environment, namely hydrocarbon pollutants, heavy metals, certain kinds of plastics, and what have you. So what happens in the case of petroleum microbiology is you have a process called bioremediation, where microorganisms are able to break down the hydrocarbons into very small compounds that are harmless and do not cause any bad effect to the environment or to the people living in that area. Now, microorganisms can also be used to drive waste to wealth. So some of my research involves using certain kinds of waste, including agricultural wastes, converting them to biofuels like bioethanol and biogas. And I've also been able to use certain kinds of waste products to produce biopolymer. Now, my research has allowed me to have industry collaboration with the petroleum industry, also with the Federal Ministry of Environment in Nigeria, and also to act as an expert with the Intergovernmental Science Policy Platform on Biodiversity and Ecosystem Services. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Habiba, for that presentation. And the intersection between microbiology and environmental sustainability is really, really timely. And we move on to our very final presenter. So last but not least, Masara Diakate from Senegal. Masara, are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. And Masara's work focuses on multi-event attribution of floods in Senegal between 2000 and 2022, addressing climate action. So Masara, the floor is yours and you have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Matra in Ashanseku University for South of Senegal. Imagine an April morning that your neighborhood has become a lake, houses on the water, thousands of people without other home, road, school and hospital no longer working. This is what happened in Senegal on 15th of September 2020. For a long time in West Africa, you thought that one of many our climate problem. This is changing. You are now using happier in for sudden rainfall. My research asks a simple but important question. Was this forefact of natural events? For what is mean watch for women post climate change? To answer this question, I compared the climate of the past and the climate of today, using weather of observation and climate model. The result is very clear. In the past, uneven climate of the weather in September 2020 should happen only once in 875 years. Today is why I have years human-caused climate global warming meets flat 65 of time more likely and increase rainfall. These numbers are not just a statistic. They mean despite houses, lost crops, and sometimes lost life. A certain water help disease like cholera and increase malaria. This impact are worse because of fast urban growth, deforestation, and people living in flag for area. My study shows that these demands are no longer only possible, they are real, measurable, and global warming. By measuring of visual intensity, the decision maker of scientific tools, community resilient, and to ask for climate justice. The climate has changed, and the ways people protect people must change. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that really nice ending, Masara. And I first want to take the opportunity to thank all the presenters that we've had today. I'm going to give some very, very high level feedback, and Irene will also contribute to that before we hand it back to Irene for the voting. And first, I want to really say I'm really impressed by the courage and the preparation that all the presenters have brought. You're all incredibly knowledgeable in your areas of expertise, and that has been evident in the passion that you brought to the talk today. I'm also quite pleased by the fact that all the presenters, or at least most presenters, brought in the use of images and storytelling. That is incredibly commendable. And almost everyone stayed within the time. So that is really, really amazing. It shows that there's been practice and there's been preparation to this. So I'll just suggest some general areas of improvement, and this is applicable not just to today, whether or not you proceed to global finals, but also to any other such presentations. First, I'll start with, so we have only 3 minutes to present, and we get to introduce you, we get to say your topic. So by all intents, there's really no need of introducing yourself again. This is obviously very contextual, different contexts do this differently, but generally when there's a very short time to present, 3 minutes, sometimes you'll have a pitch of only 2 minutes, you'll be introduced. So don't take the 45 seconds or 15 seconds, which you can put into your presentation to say your name again. Just go into the presentation so that you can really maximize the time. It was really great to see a lot of us using images, but some of those images were really not visible on the screen, and that is a challenge for virtual presentations. So my suggestion for this is normally, so I just wrote a big number over here. This is 52. So you do notice that I'm holding it right in front of my face, because for that second, you can hear me, but you don't, so you can see 52. But if I put it here, then you can't really tell the number. So that is a challenge of virtual technology. But when you have images and when we really want to press something, try and bring it closer, and you can just leave like a small gap between you and the camera so that the audience can see it, because at that moment, the focus is here, not necessarily on your face. So we can try and practice not to have images here, but just bring them closer to the camera, so that we can see what you're really pointing out. And still on images, so we did have some really wonderful images shown, but because we blurred our background, usually the problem with blurring in virtual technology is it tends to swallow the picture. So in some cases, I can see you're holding an image, but it's blurred, so I can't really see what's on the image. So I would suggest that for virtual presentations, we try and have plain backgrounds, or rather just a room where there's nothing behind, or it's a plain wall, so that you can just not blur your camera. That way you're visible, and also your props or your image is visible. The other feedback I'd suggest is there are really some amazing stories that accompanied the presentations, but we tended to spend a bit too much time on the problem and then rush through the solution part. So we want to really balance that out, so that we balance the time on the problem and the approach and then the solution, and then it becomes a full picture, so that we are not excited about the problem and the story, and then we rush through the end of the problem. And speaking about the problem and the storytelling, when we used a persona, so whether it's, say, Sarah, the farmer, for example, let's remember to bring the persona back at the end. So what happened to Sarah? How will Sarah use the solution that you're promoting? Because that way it really creates a closed loop for the listener, and even it's psychological in that way, because if you introduce us to Sarah or any other persona, remember to bring them back at the end to really show how they'll benefit from your solution. I'll just give 2 more, then I'll welcome Irene to give her remarks as well. The other is on technical jargon. So we are all scientists. Most of us are scientists in the room, and it's really tempting to use quite technical jargon, which I would understand. So for instance, if you're in tech, I will understand a technical jargon. But if I'm not a medical person or a microbiologist, I might not really understand some of the terms that we are using. So in very, very short presentations like this one, you really want to make sure we avoid as much technical jargon as possible, because the intention is for you to bring the message of your technical field to an audience that has no relation to your background. So that is a lesson for all of us, to always practice simplifying our language as much as possible. And my last feedback will be on body language. So virtual presentations, again, very tricky that way, but because that's how we communicate nowadays, we want to make sure that the camera is level to your eyes. So for instance, we find that when you're using phones, when you're using different cameras, it's very easy to put the phone down here. So your eyes will be cast down. When I'm looking at you, your eyes are cast down. Or if you're sitting, then it's very possible that your eyes might not be level to camera. So with virtual presentations, we want to practice that our entire body is facing the camera and we are not seated like this, or we are not seated like this presenting to the audience. But again, because of virtual technology, we have to practice how to position our body to the camera. But otherwise, really impressive work, everyone. And Irene, any other comments?
Thank you, Chao. For me, I'll say you said all the comments because I had something about it, the technicalities of the words that they use, and also so one thing that I'll say is when you're doing a presentation, all the ways that you can also do at the end, you have 3 minutes. Most people didn't use their 3 minutes. They just use like 2 minutes. So most of the information that you want to tell us is lost. We don't have it. So please make sure you use your 3 minutes and you use it well. And also you could end your presentation with a strong sentence that will ring in people's head all the time that is you made this presentation. So that is what, because Chao has said all my points, what I wanted to say. So thank you, Chao. And I think we'll hand over to Irene, then we can continue.
Great. Thank you so much, Chao and Irene, for that very, very useful feedback. And thank you to all of our 13 incredible presenters. I think you've all demonstrated not only your, as Chao said, very apparent scientific excellence, but also clarity and confidence, and you've really gotten to the impact of your research. So we're now going to open the live voting, and the audience will be able to vote for the presenter who you think most effectively communicated the impact of her research. We'll have the poll open for about 90 seconds. But before we open the poll, I'd like to just bring back to spotlight all of the speakers on the screen so that you can associate names with faces if you've forgotten exactly who is who. And so if you don't have your video on, speakers, please turn them on. And we'll add you all to this spotlight. I think we can add this many people. Okay, we might not be able to have this many. Let me remove myself. Chao. Irene. Okay. Okay, this is the maximum that we can have spotlighted. So I'm going to leave these people up for just a few seconds, and then I'll add the other speakers who I was not able to spotlight. So everybody take a note. If there's somebody you remember being exceptional. Okay, now I'm going to add the others. Mirabelle. Denise. I think that is everybody. Is there any speaker who has not been spotlighted? No. Okay. Okay, so we'll go ahead and open the poll, and we'll see you back here in about 90 seconds to announce the winners. Okay, we're going to close the poll in just a few seconds, so I'll give you 10, 15 more seconds to get your votes in. Okay, go ahead and close the poll. And give us a host just a few seconds to make sure we've got the right order of the winners. Okay. Let's see. I think we've got the right winners. Chao, would you like to announce the winners?
Yes, of course. So I get the honors of doing this. And first, just thanks for everyone who's voted. I've seen quite some activity on the chat. So thank you so much for participating for the last 1.5 hours and also for voting. So the results will determine which presenters advance to represent, or which two presenters advance to represent Africa at the global finale on Wednesday, March 11th. So I have the honor of announcing the winners, and we'll start with the 5th place. All right, so in 5th place, we have Habiba Atta. Habiba Atta in 5th place. Well done, Habiba. In 4th place, do we have, if you can react on the chat, please do, so that we can celebrate the presenters. In fourth place, we have Aku Gabriela and Mary Wetani. So we had a tie at 4th place. Aku Gabriela and Mary Wetani in 4th place. So well done, Aku and Mary. In third place, we have Pamela Chogo. In third place, we have Pamela Chogo. Very well done, Pamela. And now in second place, advancing to the global finale in March, we have, so if we could hear drum rolls, we'll get drum rolls, but in second place, we have Luisa Muparure. In second place, we have Luisa Muparure. And finally, the first place winner of today's competition, also advancing to the global finale, is Bernadette Jani.
Wow, Zim,
Very
you go,
well done. Very well done. Bernadette's journey.
Thank
So
you.
congratulations to Bernadette and Luisa for advancing to the global finale. Irene and I know exactly how you're feeling right now. So well done and congratulations to all the competitors. And back to you, Irene.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations to all our winners. You've done really well. So regardless of the results, every presenter is a winner because you've done so well. Within 3 minutes, you've been able to tell us what your work is about. You've all done so well. So to our audience too, thank you for joining us and supporting women scientists in Africa. We hope you continue to follow the upcoming regional competitions and also join us again at the global finale in March. Thank you all for being part of this inspiring session and looking forward to seeing you all again online in March. Thank you. Over to you, Erin.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So thank you so much to all of our participants. We really hope that it's been a helpful exercise for you and that you also had a little bit of fun. And thank you also to Irene and Chao for your wonderful sharing and your feedback, which I think was very practical and very applicable for all of us who have to give presentations as part of our work, which is most of us. And last of all, thank you so much to our audience for being part of this Short Talks, Big Impacts Africa Region session. And we hope that you might join us for the other regional competitions. So next week on Wednesday again, the 25th, we're going to have the Latin America and Caribbean competition. And then the following week, we have the Asia Pacific region on Tuesday, March 3rd, and then the Arab region competition on Wednesday, March 4th. So we encourage you to register for those as well. And then, of course, we hope to see you for the exciting global finale on March 11th, which is going to bring together all of our finalists from the regional competitions. So please register for that if you haven't already. And all OWSD members will receive a reminder by email, of course. So thank you again, and we hope to see you all soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.